Hello, welcome back to my channel. So let's see what reading we have for you tonight. So we've got the archetype cards again. So this could be 4 archetypes that make up your personality so that you will know if this reading is for you or not. Or it may be the archetypes of somebody that you are inquiring about that is in your energy at this time. So we have runes, we have tarot cards, and we have the archetype cards as well. So just put into the forefront of your mind anything that's going on in your life right now that you would like some clarity on. And whilst you're at it, please do like and subscribe to my channel as well. It helps me to sort of, if your energy is there in the collective, it will help me to channel you more. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. So let's get into it. So let's see what we have for you today. What do we have for you today? The Destroyer, that's come out a couple of times now. The Poet, that's come out as well. And the Saboteur. Let's get one more. That's quite interesting. So you could be the same person that was watching the other night that is connecting in tonight. It's a slightly different energy. Because your personality will make up, or it's said to make up at least 12 different archetypes. So there's more than 4, but it's where the most dominant area of your energy is at this time for the purpose of this reading, is what we are getting. Angel, that's interesting. So we've got Destroyer, Poet, Saboteur, and Angel. So I do feel you may be a little bipolar. I'm only joking. I feel like you might have a bit of an energy with you where... So we'll go with Angel first of all. So Angel is helping those in need with no expectation of return. The shadow attributes of an angel is acting innocent or angelic to mislead others, falsely claiming to be in touch with angelic guidance. So I feel like you do enjoy helping other people. You like to help people. You don't have an expectation of anything in return. However, you don't like to feel that you have been taken for granted. That's the thing, is like you like to feel like you're needed, you're wanted. And at times maybe you feel like perhaps people don't really appreciate the effort that you've gone to or the things that you've done for other people. So I'm going to read Destroyer next. So Destroyer is releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for new life. So you're the kind of person that has the ability to, you know, if you're not happy with something, you will change it. So like, for instance, you're probably the kind of person that you'll change your job quite frequently if you're unhappy in a particular situation. You're not the kind of person that has stayed in the same job for a long amount of time. I feel like you're the type of person that's moved around a lot, maybe even moved house a lot, you know. Shadow attributes is intoxicated with destructive power, destroying others' dreams or potential. I do feel that that may be how you feel sometimes in the shadow attributes of the angel. Is almost like perhaps you can say things or do things that you later sort of like feel like, oh, perhaps I shouldn't have done that, but you did it out of feeling unwanted or not needed in a particular situation. I'll just switch those around for some reason. Saboteur highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life. Shadow attribute is induces self-destructive behaviour or the desire to undermine others. So I feel like with Saboteur kind of goes with the Destroyer and the Angel really, because it's like you do have a really nice energy about you and you generally do try to do your best for others. But there's an energy to you there where I feel like you always feel like things don't work out for you. And maybe on a subconscious level, there are patterns and things that happen in your life that make you feel like it's a bit like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. Like there's, you know that, oh, this isn't going to work out for me. And you're telling yourself that before, at the very beginning of a venture. And tasks and things happen that kind of screw things up. And then you feel like, oh, see, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to be the case. So it's kind of like an energy, I feel like that. Where it's kind of like, you know, you do have a lot of potential and you've got a really good way about you, a nice energy about you, but for some reason you do tend to sabotage things. We have the Poet, and the attributes here is expresses soul insights in symbolic language. Shadow attribute is turns a lyrical gift to negative or destructive effect. So again, there's this energy with you. I do feel you've been working on this though. I feel like you have been reflecting a lot on yourself, and the impact that you have on other people's lives. Your angelic kind of energy is become really apparent to you now. It's sort of like, actually, I like this part about me. But I do feel you're the kind of person that when somebody kind of gives you in return that want to help you or to, you know, show you their concern, you struggle to accept that. And that's where the destroyer and the saboteur comes out, because it's almost like you've been given a compliment or something, and I don't feel that you accept compliments very easily. So that is your energy. Let's see what your runes are telling us today. So where is your energy in terms of runes right now? Othala. Hagalaz, which is interesting because that actually does go in line with the destroyer. And Ingwas, this one comes out a lot lately. Very interesting. A very contained energy is what I'm getting from your runes at this time. So Othala talks about your inherent gifts, and sometimes it's traits and things that you've inherited from your bloodline, from your family. So I do feel someone that's been doing a lot of inner work around maybe your relationship with your parents, siblings, things like that, where you're looking at sort of like, what parts of me do I want to bring forward? What quality, what's the word? What quality aspects do I want? What quality inherent gifts do I want to bring forward from my ancestors, from my family line? And I feel like you've been doing a lot of work on that lately, and I feel like you're a very family orientated person as well. However, I do feel that you are a little bit of a lone wolf. So even though you are a family person, you're not actually connected to your family, if that makes sense. I feel someone that's actually a little bit detached from their family, even though you are a very family orientated person. So it's kind of like you do enjoy your own space and your own company, and I feel like that's because of this energy that you have here, where it's sort of like you feel if you're around people for too long, you tend to find there's a bit of destructive energy in connections. And that's what Hagalaz is talking about on here, is like there's a lot of change with you, a lot of sudden change constantly. It's almost like you kind of like flipping from one thing to the next. And when you start to feel this energy bubbling up inside of you, so like the angel and the poet is like one side of you, which is, you know, you're very good with words, and I feel like you're very, you have a real magnetic energy about you that people are drawn to. But then as soon as people get close to you, the destroyer and the saboteur starts to come out. It's almost like you struggle with allowing yourself to be complimented or to be held in a place of high regard. So I think that's what Hagalaz is telling us on here, coupled with Othala. Now, Ingwas, this is a rune, I feel, with Hagalaz and Othala there, this is talking about self-containment. So I do feel an energy of somebody that at this time spends a lot of time on their own, almost like it's a bit like the shaman in the cave in I don't know, the Andes or something like that. It's kind of like the person that needs to be away from the community because of your energy. You find it difficult to be around people all of the time, so you need that space on your own. But I feel someone here that's very confused about, because there's a desire to have deep connections and to trust people as well, to have trust in relationships and especially intimate relationships. But I'm feeling the energy of somebody that kind of feels that they do tend to sabotage connections because of this feeling of needing to be on their own sometimes. And I feel that you are struggling to feel understood by some of the connections in your life at this time. So let's get into the tarot then and see what this current situation is for you. Well, that was quick. Okay, current situation is the King of Pentacles. So currently you are looking for stability, you are looking for some security and some element of permanence here. So it's like you perhaps have been going through a lot of change, and I feel an energy of someone that's kind of getting a little bit, perhaps a little bit sick of constantly changing. You want some permanence at this time. This is what your current situation is finding permanence. So what is your challenge around that? Why are you challenged with that? Okay, so we've got the Fool on here. Now I do feel that, I'm not sure if this came out in the reverse or not, so I'm going to talk about both ways and see how that resonates with you, because there may be more than one collective here. So your current situation is about you wanting this more stability, more security and permanence, okay? Now that might be financially, it might be in relationships. I'm feeling it is around more relationships based on what runes have come out for you here. But it could also relate to money as well and stability financially. But with the Fool coming out as your challenge, it's almost like it's egging you on to, you know, have faith and take a leap of faith. You know, you kind of hold back from that with this sort of destroyer and saboteur energy. It's sort of like if something looks interesting or an opportunity, you might talk yourself out of it before you've even gone for the opportunity. But then the other way around with this is being reckless with your energy, being reckless with the things that you do, and possibly even with money, it could be, as to why you're feeling this need to change a lot. And I feel what I'm picking up right now with this challenge is that perhaps there's a fear within you of people getting too close to see something in you that shows this recklessness, if you like. But is it such a bad thing about you, or does it actually make you fun and interesting and adventurous? Okay, so I feel somebody here that is feeling like they're reaching a point in their life where they feel they should be more stable or should be living in a different way to the way they are. But who's telling you that that's the way to live, you know? And this is about, I feel, someone that's been searching for happiness. Someone's been searching for, some kind of happiness within themselves. And there seems to be this feeling of like, why do I sabotage things that make me feel happy? Why do I feel like things that have brought me happiness I can't have or stay with? I end up changing things. And I can completely relate with this. So basically, things like, for instance, you might relate to this if you're the kind of person where, say for instance, you start a job, okay? Now you start this job, and at the beginning you're in at the deep end, you don't really know what you're doing, and people are commenting on, you know, how you're not doing great at this job. But being the stubborn person that you might be, if you're anything like me, you will then take that as, right, I'm going to do my best with this job. I'm going to be amazing at this job. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they are saying to me, I am good at this job. Now, as soon as the compliments start rolling in about how great you are at your job, you walk away from that job, because it's almost like, well, job done. I only came to be told that I could do it well. And now I have been, I'm off. I'm going to go and find something else. So that, I feel, is the challenge with yourself, is you asking for, the current situation is for permanence and stability, but you've got to access within you this pattern of, once I've got to this point, I'm going to move on. Okay. Take it how it resonates. What do you need to focus on right now? What have I just done there? What do you need to focus on? What do you need to focus on? Whoa, that flew all the way over there. So what you need to focus on right now, it's come out as death and rebirth. So you need to focus on shedding the old version of yourself. So with this Athala, this could relate to what you've been told in the past about who you are or the way you are or anything like that. You kind of need to shed that old skin that does feel like it's connected to how people view you based on what their version of you is. Sorry, I had a message just pop on my phone then. It's gone now. It just put me off for a moment. Yeah, so based on what people think of you, and I feel like this is family members, this is people who are very close to you, that have been in your life a long time, and you have been gradually making this transition with a newer version of yourself that you're starting to embrace. There's a part of that that really does resonate with you right now. But there is this fear of just how people are going to view you with the changes, and a part of you that's almost like oh, I can't, no, I'm going to walk away from that now. So your focus here is about this, you know, you need to step out of this old skin in order for your new skin to grow. Okay. So that is what you need to focus on there. I do see somebody spending a lot of time around dogs, or a lot of time around animals, like around a farm type of place is what I'm seeing. Maybe there's somebody that you go and talk to around that kind of space. It seems to be good for you if that's something that you've been doing recently. It seems to be very healing for you, very good for you, spending time around this person and their dogs. Okay, so what do you need to let go of? I'm going to keep that one out because I think that came out based around what I was just saying about that person and the dogs. So we've got the Ace of Wands on here. This is bringing fresh ideas in. There's something that you are in the process of manifesting here, and it does feel very nature-based. It does feel very much like perhaps something that you wouldn't normally go for or usually tell yourself that you would be happy with. But actually it's become a bit of a new idea in your mind, like a fresh perspective. But I don't feel that was the card for what you're letting go of. So let's get, what do you need to let go of? What do you need to leave in the past? Okay, yeah. So we've got the Three of Wands on here. So this is about this sort of energy of preparing to leave, preparing to go, like, you know, venturing somewhere new, things like that. So they're asking you to leave behind, it's almost like an idea or an ambition that you've had that at the moment it's something about going to explore somewhere new, and I feel like it's somewhere overseas, it's somewhere else, and they're asking you to kind of put that behind you for now because it's not actually serving your purpose right now. It's not where you're meant to be at this time. It's not saying that that won't be in the future, and I do feel that in 3 years there may be an opportunity similar to this, if not the same as this, but right now they're asking you to leave that behind. That's what you're being called to do. So if that resonates with you, you'll know what that is, because there is this energy of needing stability right now. And it's almost like going somewhere else. It's like separating yourself even. It's a bit like using that saboteur and destroyer energy even more. It's almost like it's taking you away from something that actually you would bring you more stability. So what is your strength at this time? Wow. He's come up twice today. King of Swords. So your strength is the King of Swords. So the King of Swords is kind of like having the power to be very logical. This is the king that is very intelligent, very brave, very like mindful. and forward thinking in that sense. So this kind of king is, your strength right now is your ability to think clearly and to plan in a logical way. It's funny because you've got the King of Pentacles as your current situation, and now you've got the King of Swords as your strength. Now, if you watched a video that I did earlier, it was all about going to sit with the king. And this king that has called upon you to be his friend and sit next to him. But on the way, there is distraction, and you could miss out on all of your desires that this king is going to grant for you, because you got distracted by the party. But the party was going there anyway. So if you'd have just carried on, focused on your drive and where you're going. So that's your strength right now, is your ability, your stubbornness. You know, use your destroyer energy here to really drive your focus to the intention. Not anything else that's on that path, the intention. It's like, keep going down there. Use your sword to cut away anything that stands in the way of where you need to go, okay? A good king knows the difference between action and non-action. Knows the difference between when to be humble and when to really stand up and fight. So that's your strength. That's a very, very strong card to have as strength. Sorry, I thought something was burning them. So, what do we have now? We're looking for your future. So what is the future? Wow, your future is the Ace of Pentacles. This, your future looks very bright. Your future looks like a bit of a fulfillment, if I'm honest. So this, if you think about an intention that you have set, there's an opportunity in your future that's coming in that's going to allow you to really put your seeds down and to make some plans that will come into fruition. So this is something that is being, it's like an offer that's been made to you that's very fortunate. I do feel this is showing, yeah, if you decide to leave behind whatever this venture is that's taking you overseas, right? This is asking you or telling you that you actually have something quite fortunate as an opportunity that is to do with a seed that you planted, I feel, a little while ago, that is ready for you now. With Ingwas there, it's like you've been in this self-containment for some time, and it's almost like that egg is ready to crack open, and when it opens, you're going to be offered this. Okay. That's very interesting. So what is your advice? What can we advise you on here? What do they want to advise you of at this time? I keep hearing the word disappointment. I'm not sure why there's a feeling of disappointment. Okay. Right. There is something in your energy that's suggesting that you have maybe had your heart broken. You're feeling quite sad about something, and it might be to do with this this ending that we've got over here, what you've been focusing on, or a need to end that, to shed that skin. So this is kind of related. There's been a real need for healing wounds, healing those wounds of the heart, I feel, at this time. And we've got the devil in reverse. So this is kind of suggesting that you're breaking free from this heartbreak. Your advice is to break free from it. You know, stop beating yourself up over it. Stop going over and over it in your mind, because it's massively, it feels like it's massively holding you back. And it could be this reason for why you feel like running away, why you feel like wanting to go. And I know Spirit is telling me to say it like that, running away. Okay, so this is kind of like asking you to heal those wounds within you, break free from those chains that hold you back. Okay, break free from it. That is your advice on there. You know, there's an ancient scripture and it talks about happiness, and I love this particular story. It's about what's it called? A musk deer. I think it's a musk deer anyway. It's basically an animal that it has a scent gland on its head, on its forehead. You can look this up. I can't remember exactly where you'd find it, but it's just, if you put in the musk deer and happiness, then you might find this. So this musk deer has this scent gland on its forehead. Now, this deer, it goes around and it absolutely, you know, this scent makes it happy. It's like, it gives it like an oxytocin kind of feeling to it. So it's searching here, there and everywhere. It can smell this smell and it's trying to find the smell. It's constantly trying to search for this smell. Does not realise that it's on its head. Okay? So what this scripture is saying is basically, you know, it's already, you know, your ability to be happy is already there with you. It's not something that you can go off looking for. You can look for it in other things, but that will ultimately lead to disappointment because it's not coming from you. Okay? It's a bit like when you, so for instance, if that musk deer realised that it was on its forehead, then it would be at peace, wouldn't it? Because it would be like, I can sit and smell that anytime I want. I don't need to run around trying to find it, trying to look for it. It's a bit like when you pass somebody in the street or something, or a child smiles at you. It's that energy of somebody smiling at you that reflects back to you something within yourself, a want to smile and a feeling of happiness. Okay, so it's ultimately knowing, and this is what your advice is kind of telling you on here, is sort of like, you know, you've received unhappiness in the past, or perhaps even recently. You know, you felt unhappy, you felt heartbroken, but only you can free yourself from that feeling. Only you can find happiness, but you can't find it anywhere other than in here, or in here, or in here. Okay? That's the place to find it. Trying to search for it overseas or search for it in other people, you can't. You've got to find it within yourself. And then what happens is when you feel that within yourself and you start to reflect that out to the world, it actually becomes more, you receive more of that back to you because you're kind of glowing that, and it will be reflected back at you. I hope that helped somebody. Let's see what's in your environment right now. So what is in your environment at this time? Well, that was like a well. If it isn't the Queen of Pentacles in your environment. So we not only have the King of Pentacles, but we also have the Queen of Pentacles. And this is a very nurturing energy. This is a mothering energy. This is a healer, okay? Queen of Pentacles is somebody that doesn't really need anything from anybody, but has so much to give. Like this type of person gives so much. And if you couple these two together, you know, you've got someone that's very confident, warm, caring, abundant, coupled with somebody that is very generous, healing and loving. And it's just an energy of, and it's almost like, you know, these two got the way that they did through finding that happiness within themselves and then aligning with each other. I'm getting a feeling of energy from this, that this is actually something that is being called into your life at this time. So if you are looking for your soulmate, or you're looking for that divine counterpart, if you like, whatever you like to call it, whatever you class it as, I do feel there's an energy here of your current situation as being, whether you're male or female, you're in this energy of wanting more security and stability. And in your environment, it's almost like what matches that is there. It's already there. There's a real nurturing, healing energy in your environment at this time that brings that stability. It complements the abundance that's already in there. And I feel like you already have this energy in you. Look, you've got this angel energy, the poet energy. You've already got it. But you just got to watch these two from like bringing that down and, you know, stopping you from really being stable enough to stay and enjoy that energy. I'm going to say the word, be vulnerable and surrender. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable and surrender to it, and you will find that energy of real, stability and satisfaction. That's beautiful. I really like that. So let's see, we've got the Ace of Cups on the bottom of there. That is related to love, new love, like connections coming in, intimacy as well. It's like, but I feel it's intimacy as well of allowing your intimacy to show, or, you know, I feel someone's energy of like, they're getting this warm feeling down here, which I don't think perhaps you're used to, maybe. And that's what's kind of like giving you this fight or flight sort of energy of like, oh, I've got to get out of here. But actually, it feels like you're being called to step into it and embrace it. So what are your hopes and fears? This will be interesting to see. What are your hopes and fears right now? Okay, your hopes and fears at this time kind of suggest being on your own, being left, not really being... I do sense somebody that spends a lot of time on their own and kind of feels lonely at times, but also at the same time you enjoy your own company as well. But you are in an energy of maybe you want to share your time with somebody else. Let's get another card to go with that. So hopes and fears with the Hermit. What else do we have? Let's clarify that a little bit. You've been thinking for some time about what you want. You've got the Lovers on the bottom there and the Two of Pentacles as well. Okay, so I feel your hopes and fears, I feel like you've been juggling a bit of a romantic element to this. So it's almost like you've been juggling two different connections or two different ideas of love, of how you want to go forward. What have we got to go with the Hermit for this? The hopes and fears. Let's have a look. What are your hopes and fears right now? Queen of Cups. Yeah, so there's definitely something about love, and I've got a feeling it's a fear of you being left. That's what I'm getting from this. There's this fear of maybe you sabotaging something, and there's an energy here of, with your hopes and fears, it's kind of like a fear of allowing your emotional side to show through. but you've been pondering this for a while, I feel. So it's like your environment and your it's feeling quite stable, but you've got, in the hopes and fears, this energy of feeling like you've got to walk alone, like everything's on your own. And there's this energy of knowing that you need to open up emotionally here. You know, you want love and support, but there's a feeling of like, well, nobody does support me, nobody does love me. And that's part of this sabotage and destroyer energy that you've got within you, is this, maybe you're not having faith in love in terms of how you feel about whether you can be loved, if that makes sense. There's an energy with you of, with your hopes and fears, there's a fear within you that something that seems too good to be true normally is. And I feel like you kind of have found something that brings you this stability, brings you this kind of feeling of love and support and encouragement. But there's a fear around it because you're not used to that. So it feels, is this safe or is it not safe? You know, it's got this snake sort of like around the roots on here. And it's almost like there's been in your roots for some time, because maybe something that happened to you in the past that's created this heartache, you know, and that was your advice, if you remember, was to let go of, break through the chains of this heartbreak from the past, because that is what's holding you back from really feeling that joy and happiness within yourself. You know, once you can find that joy and happiness in yourself, you're not going to be worried about anything that enters your life, because you've already found that within yourself. So anything else just complements that. You won't look at it the way that you are now if you can break those chains. Okay. You're probably asking like, well, how do I do that? How do I even go about that? Well, if you want to get in touch with me, I can help you. We can do some healing sessions around that. We can do some readings that will give you the information that you need to help you to move forward. So my details are in the description box if you would like to get in touch if you're interested. So let's see what the outcome here is. Yeah, so we've got the 8 of Swords as your outcome. So the decision is yours. It's up to you. You can either hold yourself in this space of not being able to move forward. Sorry, my knee's gone a little bit crampy. So the 8 of Swords is a feeling of powerlessness, not being able to make a decision, not being able to move forward. But if you look at the card, she's surrounded by all these swords and she's bound up, but there's nothing really stopping her from unbinding herself. And there's no swords in front of her. So she could move forward really, if she wanted to. But she's choosing to hold herself in that place, possibly through fear of rejection, fear of being hurt again. So it's almost like, well, I'll just stay here because that's all I can do, because I feel powerless. I feel confused. I don't know what to do. So let's pick another card and see, just if you were to go ahead and stay with the stability, what happens then? What happens then? Well, what happens then is the 6 of Cups. Okay, so 6 of Cups is a childlike energy. This is the energy of like going back into a time that you can think of that brought you happiness and peace. It feels like a childhood memory to me. it's actually taking you back to innocence. So that goes back to this point of shedding that skin, because what you're being asked here as your outcome is almost like, if you can move forward without the attachment of things that have happened to you in the past that have brought you unhappiness. And this is the thing, if we search for happiness in things, objects, people, we're always going to be disappointed, because, you know, people have free will, and that happiness has to come from you and within you. And if it doesn't, it's ultimately always going to lead to unhappiness because of the expectation. So the Six of Cups here as your outcome is suggesting you need to go back to innocence. Seek within you the most innocent parts that haven't been tainted by your experiences of searching for happiness. Because there was a point in your life where you were content and happy before these things happened to you. And that is what you're being asked to kind of remember, that feeling of when you were just happy. You know, anything could happen to you or whatever, but you were happy. Okay, there were things going on around you in your environment, maybe when you were a child or when you were in your family environment. There could have been all sorts of things going on around you, but at that point in your life, you were oblivious to it because you were happy in your own little space, in what you were doing. It's only as you grow and you start to form attachments to things and people and stuff that you start to learn expectation can lead to disappointment. And this is kind of asking you now is, you know, can you let go of your expectation on yourself as to what outcomes are going to be? You know what it is that you are looking for in your life. You know what it is that you want. And it feels to me like the opportunity is there if you can stick around long enough to really absorb it. And that will wash away your confusion, your restriction, your feeling of powerlessness, okay? Because you've got a lot more power than you realise. I'm going to get one more card just to clarify all of this for you. So what is our final card for our viewer today? We have the Empress. This is a card of unconditional love. It's the divine feminine. It is like Mother Earth herself, Mother Nature. You know, this is creation of life. And you have the ability to create the kind of life that you want to create. And this is what the Empress is guiding you towards. You've got so many kings and queens. You've got like 2 queens and 2 kings in here. Okay? There's a real regalness to your reading today, which is showing you have a lot more power than you actually realise you have. You have a lot more ability than you realise you have. But what is blocking you, is this energy of destroying and sabotaging because of maybe a lack of self-worth, because of what you feel you've been told, or the expectations that have been in your life before that have been, unmet, unfulfilled. Whereas now you've got this opportunity, and this is your outcome. It's telling you, you know, you have the ability of unconditional love. You have the ability of, you know, fertility, an ability to bring to you what you want in your life, you know. You've got that for yourself. It's there. It's available to you. It's just asking you to not allow yourself to feel the struggle anymore, or the restriction, or the powerlessness. Take yourself back to that innocence and find that happiness within you. You know, your happy scent gland is on your forehead. It's not in somebody else, or in that car over there, or that house over there, or that person over there. It's on you. And you can sit there and enjoy that anytime you want. And bring to you anything that is attracted to that. And it will be aligned with you. If only you can recognise it within yourself. So I'm going to leave your reading there for you today. If you would like to have a personalised reading, then please do get in touch. My details are down in the description box, which I have mentioned before. Yeah, and have a blessed evening.